Welcome to the Emporia Public Schools podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Allison Anderson Harder, Superintendent. This podcast is our way to provide students, staff, parents, and community members easy access to information on a variety of topics. Below the podcast icon, there is a link to an electronic form for anyone to provide feedback or ideas about the podcast you may have just listened to, or to share ideas for future episodes. Our topic today is athletics at Emporia High School and Emporia Middle School. Let's welcome our guests, Mr. Beau Welch, Emporia High School Assistant Principal, Athletic Director, and Mr. Adrian Trujillo, Emporia Middle School Assistant Principal, Athletic Director. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, we're going to start with you, Beau. Outline to our listeners what opportunities are available for EHS student athletes when it comes to summer camps, as well as summer weights and conditioning programs.
I think we have pretty much everything that you can offer. All of our sport teams have summer camps, either having practices or competitions. We have that information out that you could access all of that online. All of our coaches, we've created a Google document that they've put their information out there. You can click on the link. All information is there. Basically, starting next Tuesday, they weights, sporting events, there's something for everybody, and that's our goal, is to get everybody involved. And if you didn't play this year and you're interested in playing next year, really feel like summer is the opportunity to kind of check it out and see if it's for you. And we, like I said, we want to get as many people involved in every activity that we can.
So really the Tuesday after Memorial Day is when that will start. And so it doesn't matter what season the sport is, whether it's fall, winter, spring. Everybody has an opportunity over the summer.
Everybody has an opportunity to do something. You know, I think that starts with the weight room. I think the weight room is what really connects you to kind of every other sport, because we have, multiple coaches in there in our weights and conditioning, and any questions that you may have leading into a sport, our coaches can answer it in there. And not only does it, it puts you connected with coaches, it also gets you connected with other athletes. And that starts from 7th grade all the way up to 12th, which I think is a really good thing that we start with 7th graders, because it gets them engaged and involved early and introduces them to our coaches and our other athletes, and allows them to kind of experience it and get a foot in the door, I think, and get them more comfortable into all of our other activities.
So let's talk about, since that is a combination for middle school and high school, how does that look for our student athletes for 7th grade all the way through 12th?
Well, at the middle school level, we encourage our 7th and 8th graders to get in the weight room. A couple of the high school coaches came over this last semester and talked to our students about getting in there if you're interested in sports, and just, getting to know the other athletes and just getting some training. So it's really awesome that we do that jointly.
So there's free weights at middle school and high school. So do you have both areas going, or is it all at Emporia High School?
It's mainly the high school. That's the program, 7 through 12. And like Adrian, just said, we had some coaches that went over to the middle school, introduced all of that this spring. And like we said, that's an introductory piece right there, trying to get more kids involved. It's amazing, when I talk to kids that are freshmen that talk about, well, I didn't go out for a sport this year, but I'm going to go out next year. And to me, a lot of that is just being uncomfortable. Usually those kids who say that, they didn't go to weights in the summer, so they didn't get comfortable coming into the school, meeting coaches. They went through the school year and got comfortable, so that, to me, that's why that's so important. It's so much more than just lifting weights and getting in shape. There's a big social aspect to it as well, and I think our coaches do a good job of incorporating everybody.
It's great. Really networking. Students networking with coaches, coaches networking with each other.
Correct. I mean, it's, they're in our building, they're in our weight room, they're in our gym, they're out on our soccer football field, they're in our Jones building. Like we said, they're meeting our coaches, they're forming relationships on their own. And as a parent, that's what I want my child to be doing. I want them meeting people, getting involved, getting engaged. My son's a 7th grader this year, and it's the first year for him, and I'm excited for him. He's got a chance to work. He's got to learn how to work, with our coaches. So, as I'm a parent just like everybody else, I'm excited for my own kid, basically for everything that we've just talked about. So I think it's an exciting time for all of our kids, and it gives them something to do in the summer.
Awesome. So a question that comes up every once in a while is, what about 6th graders? What opportunities are there? And why are they not included?
Well, I think 6th graders, and I'll let Adrian speak a little more to this since this is middle school, but, to me, there are opportunities. All of our coaches have summer camps. We'll have, I guess you could call them elementary, but it'll go up to sixth grade, basketball, football, soccer. There are still opportunities for them to engage and participate in, a multitude of activities. I think just because they're not maybe at that level yet, there are still many opportunities for them.
There's also opportunities for them with the rec center. We have a good partnership with the rec center. They do things that our sixth graders can get involved in. At the middle school level, they can be trainers to get involved in the sport, to be around, travel with them. We did have a lot that wanted to know, can I do the weight program at the high school this summer? And we had to turn them away because, we want them to have one more year to develop so they can be a little safer. But they definitely still have a lot of things they can do.
That makes me think about the pipeline. We hear about the pipeline. What is the pipeline from the elementary through middle through high school? How are we developing that?
Well, I think depending on sport, you have a lot of different activities, whether it's, baseball, you have Reds baseball, basketball, you have a multitude of teams, going out and playing football. We've had the rec program, with football teams. We've had some new teams formed this year, and I think we're growing that, and I think it's going to get better and better and better. But that's just something that as we learn, we progress, we get better at. Our coaches understand. We've got new coaches, that are understanding, more things. I think we're going to grow and grow and grow in kind of our feeder programs.
I'll add to that. Volleyball, our coaches at the middle school are putting together a summer volleyball league where we're asking other surrounding schools like Opie and Council Grove to come and bring a team in. So our kids are not just playing volleyball when they get to seventh grade, like the first day. They have a league, they're playing. They're really working on building those opportunities. I know our wrestling in town has a really huge program at a young age and they develop. And so when they get to the middle school, a lot of those kids have already been wrestling, which is awesome.
Great. One of the things we hear about is just worrying about our families who may not have the funds for traveling teams, for some of those sports that requires that travel. So that's great. That's great.
Adding to that, every youth program that I know of that we have in town has a scholarship program, to get there. Nobody's going to get turned away. To me, if you're interested and really want to put in the time and commit the time, people are going to find a way for you to be involved.
And we do have that great partnership with the rec center. So either reaching out to the schools or to the rec center. Adrian, were you going to add something?
I was just going to add that soccer. The high school soccer coaches are putting on a middle school only soccer camp this year. And it's a small fee, but they even told our kids, hey, if you don't have it, we have ways to get that money for you. So they made it clear, money's not an issue. If you don't have it, we can still get you in there. And so we're really excited about doing our first soccer middle school camp only being run by the high school coaches this summer, which is awesome.
Great. And we know when kids are involved in athletics or activities that they're going to do much better as students and they're going to have a better experience in school overall. So talk to us, Beau, about purchasing tickets for EHS online. So that's something new this year.
Yeah, so that's something that we've been working on. We actually this spring kind of piloted it a little bit with some individual tickets. Moving forward, I think the big benefit of it will be season passes. I think that we'll still have individual tickets you can buy digitally. But season passes, I think, will be something that'll be cheaper for you to use and easier. Once you buy a digital pass, you just go to the game, show your phone, scan it, and you're in. And that's something that will start this fall. We'll have a football season pass. We'll have a fall sports season pass. We'll have a winter sports, spring sports, and then we'll have an all-season pass. And I think all of those will be much cheaper than paying each day at the game. And it's something that we've worked hard to kind of get put together for our community. And I think this spring, like I said, it was just individual tickets, which is, I don't think it's quite the product that the season pass is. It's still good. It's faster and easier if you like to use your phone and you're a technological person. It's good for you. But I think the season pass will be something that will definitely be worth your time to buy and make it much faster for you when you attend a game.
Where can they find those at?
So right now, like I said, we've put them together. We have not put those out yet. Those probably won't come out until July. We'll probably wait just a little bit, and then we're going to work with Lindell, and the people downtown to get that put on our website. And then we will put it out through social media. It will be very well publicized starting in July, and it'll be very easy, I think, too. It's as easy as scanning a QR code or clicking a link. You can use Apple Pay. There's all of those things that you can use, and as we kind of move more to cashless options in sporting events, I think in the future this is just going to become more and more prevalent among our activities, our sports. I noticed one of the state sporting events going on this weekend. It's cashless, completely cashless. So you have to use a digital ticket. So we still plan to use cash, obviously, but like I said, moving forward, I think this is the way things are going, and we're prepared for to offer that to our community.
That's great. Adrian, cost for middle school athletic events?
Our students usually get in free, and then there's usually a $4 charge for our athletic events for our parents, and veterans get in free, and then our seniors get in for like $2. So we try to keep it very reasonable compared to all the other school events.
Great. And so where does that money go? Either one of you?
A lot of that goes into our athletic budget. It goes to a multitude of other things. Sometimes that goes to some of our teams. A lot of that allows me to kind of benefit our teams for, if we go to the state tournament, I pay for their hotel, we pay for meals, things of that sort. It allows if we get into a pinch and something happened, maybe a team in their order forgot to order something, I can just go do it. I can just order it now, and they don't have to take care of it. There's a variety of ways that we use that money, but it all goes back to our teams, our school. So we've taken full advantage of that this year.
Same thing at the middle school. All that money goes back to our kids. Part of it we use for officials. We have to pay the officials, but it goes into buying equipment, jerseys, footballs, whatever it is that they need. That's just a fund for us to use for that. That's its only purpose.
Great. Thank you. Talk about, live streaming EHS sports competitions. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so that's something been working hard at this year. And, we've always had it's our Huddle camera. Huddle is the company that we use, all of our sports teams use to film their events, and it gives our coaches an opportunity to break down and teach and coach through video. And since I think we've had a Huddle camera in our main gym for the last 6-7 years, and it's worked great, allows us to live stream. This spring, we actually added another one into our JV gym, so we can now stream both of our gyms. When you think about what goes on in those gyms, you have volleyball, wrestling, basketball. Our cheer can use those now in both gyms. That's exciting. I've looked here in the last few weeks at trying to get an outdoor camera where we can stream our soccer games outside as well. We're moving that way to where we can get everything streamed. I'd really like to stream our football games. It's much harder outdoors, but there are ways that we can make it happen. And I continue to learn about that. There's not a lot of schools that do that, so it's hard to kind of pick other people's brains and how are you doing this? But, I think moving forward, I think we'll have all of our activities streamed at some point. It's just a matter of, can we get the tools to make those happen? We're in the era now where you can have the tools, but you got to have the people to run them at the events too, and that makes that a little bit harder. We've got a lot of things getting ready to happen in our gyms, a lot of really cool opportunities. But on top of all that technology, you also have to have a person there to run it, and when you struggle to find people to keep score and things of that sort, that's one more thing, but it's such a benefit to, the crowd, our students, just the overall event, so as we move forward, I think, like I said, I think we've got a lot of good things, and live streaming, I think, is, when you've got people who can't come to games, it just gets your community more involved, so that's a big goal of mine.
That's great. It makes it accessible to relatives or friends that live across the country, so that's really great. Anything middle school wise as far as live streaming or doing anything with that?
It's a conversation that's been brought up recently. Like Beau said, not everyone's doing it, so it's hard to talk to people that are doing it and being successful, especially at the middle school level. I know we have an athletic director meeting with our league coming up in about 2 weeks, and that's something on our agenda that we're going to bring up to see what schools are doing it, how they're doing it. Did they start with only a couple sports? Are they doing all of them? So it's something we're looking at also. We just talked about that recently.
Right. I know this is a challenge because you don't have people to ask questions, but we're trailblazing. So that's really exciting that Emporia is getting out there. Talk to us about positions for coaching or assistant coaches, any that are still open right now.
Yeah, we've got a few at the high school. We've got an assistant football job opening right now that there are. It's getting. There are a few applicants for that. It hasn't been hired yet. We've got an assistant track. Got a couple of iffy positions that could come open here soon, but I can't talk about them yet because they haven't happened. But there are opportunities there. And I think that if you go to our website and look up athletics, when those come available, you'll be able to see them. And I would say if you're interested in those, you got to apply right away because we're gonna act on them. So. There definitely will be some opportunities there, some coaching opportunities moving forward for next year.
Anything at the middle school?
Yeah, we have a lot of positions opening for coaching, but what's really good is that we have a lot of applicants for it. So like Beau said, if you get on the website, you go to it, you see it, please apply. We try to get that taken care of as soon as we can in the summer to give our coaches a year to prepare for their season. Off the top of my head, I know we have a girls basketball opening. We're starting a brand new girls wrestling season, so we'll have a head coach and assistant coach open for that. An assistant cross country. All of these already have applicants in it, so we're moving on it. But it's nice to see that we do have a lot of people interested in throwing their names in there, which tells us they want to be there with us.
Great. Well, and we are doing some changes on our end on the website to make it easier to see what openings there are. So on the employment page, there's open positions. So if anyone's interested, there's also the employment. So click on that link, and then people can see a listing of all those different areas. It's by categories. Beau, talk to us about SALT. What's SALT?
So SALT is our student athletic leadership team, and how we came about that. It's something we thought we needed to develop more leadership amongst our students, our athletes, and so we handed out a nomination form to all of our athletic coaches at the high school. They come up with 2 to 3 athletes per team. Some of those are the same athletes, some of them completely different. They have to write an essay that shows why they are worthy of that nomination and why they deserve to be in SALT. Once they get accepted, they come in. We meet once a month. We try to do projects for the community, our school. There's things that all year round. We helped with a variety of field days, an ESU field day. We went to some elementary field days. We did things with our teachers. We developed athletic standards for all of our sports teams to use if the coach so choose. We had Wayne Simeon, former NBA player, KU basketball All-American, come in and speak to him about leadership, and he was phenomenal. We kind of leave it up to our student athletes as for, we set up things for them. But for me, I try to develop them to come up with things on their own, and what other projects can we do? Gratitude is a big thing that we every meeting we write gratitude cards to. Could be anybody, it could be a teacher, it could be a custodian, it could be somebody just in our district, it could be an elementary teacher, it could be somebody down here at Mary Herbert, it could be anywhere, just showing our gratitude and acknowledging the good things that are going on in our school. So, pilot year this year for it. I thought it went extremely well. Our kids got very involved, and they were excited. I think our kids, as much as anybody, like talking about our school, and like promoting our school. And we've got a lot of really good kids in that group, and they're proud. They're proud of their sport. They're proud of each other. They're proud to talk about Emporia High School, and that's really good to see. And I think that moving into next year, with kind of what we've learned and what we've experienced this year with our SALT program, there's a lot more things that we can do to kind of engage in our school community and benefit, all of those areas.
Great. I'm going to circle back around. We are very lucky that we have a lot of applicants for those coaching positions. What about on that recruiting end? So reaching out, how are you getting names for applicants, or just reaching out to somebody who maybe didn't even know the position was open? Yeah,
I think getting it out there is the main thing. And I'll speak to, to our football position that we just hired Coach Glinsman for. We put that out nationwide. That was something that we went through some channels and put that out into some social media, magazine type things, and that was able to kind of distribute. And I've had a lot of people, how do you find a guy from Montana? Well, he found us, because we put it out there, and I think that's very common. I think if you want to attract people, you got to get it out there. And I'll say this, Coach Glinsman wasn't the only out of state applicant that we had that we were interested in. There were other guys, Oklahoma, Missouri, Nebraska that were also, as well as many Kansans that were there. So we had a lot of interest in that, not just from Kansas. And I think promoting your school and your facilities is a big key. And I think think a lot of people don't really understand what they have until they step out and see other things. And a lot of the coaches we brought in, they loved our school. They loved our facilities. Just take football. Our field we have at our school, beautiful turf field. That's our practice field. Not many schools play at a stadium like we do. Not many schools have an indoor turf facility. So to me, promoting what we have, really opens the door. And then I think just being genuine. I think that, with anything that we've hired, just showing them that you got good people here. We do things the right way. We're going to take care of you. We're going to, encourage you to basically make this your own, and I think that's what coaches want to hear. They want to run their program. They want to be encouraged and helped along, but they want to make it their own, and then they want to make it in their face. And I think that's a big key for recruiting coaches and getting them comfortable coming in.
Adrian, would you like to add?
Yeah, I think supporting our coaches and having them feel like we have their back. At the middle school level, a lot of our applicants are coming from coaches that reach out, community members, parents that want to be involved. They see we're doing really positive things and they want to get in there. I have coaches applying, I have people in the community applying, I have parents applying. Middle school is obviously not like the high school where we have out-of-state people trying to come coach our cross-country team, but they're still excited. Yeah, not yet, but it's still super exciting. So, yeah.
Great. So, Beau, you have launched a podcast as well. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I just, I think like this, I think it's a way to really kind of get the positive out there, and kind of control the narrative. And like I talked about with our SALT, I think our kids are proud of our things going on at the high school. And to me, it's an opportunity to allow them to speak, and it's also an opportunity to allow our coaches to speak. I think that KVW does a good job at incorporating, our coaches for the most part and getting them down there and, and letting their voices be heard. And I think that the podcast is just kind of expands on that a little bit. It's a little more personal, and it allows the coach a little more freedom to kind of get their story out there and what's going on in their programs as well as our kids. And we try to highlight everybody. I think, and Adrian can speak to this, athletic director, assistant principal, not an easy job. There's something going on every minute, all the time. You're always on call, and I think that things like that, the podcast, the SALT program, some things that we've tried to incorporate are things that I really enjoy doing, and it makes it so much more enjoyable. Not to say my job's not enjoyable. I love my job, but those are things I love, promoting other people and seeing other people get excited and doing all of those things. It just makes it that more, gratifying, to me to see other people getting excited about those opportunities. And when we have a podcast and you've got students talking about their sport or something that's going on in their school and, and they're being positive and they're excited about doing it, to me, that's what this job's about. Whether you're a teacher, coach, an administrator, that's what it's about, so it just gives a lot of opportunity to a lot of people.
So we spent a lot of time talking about athletics, and I'm thinking too, just thinking about the athletic director position, that part of your jobs as well. There's always something going on. You're planning way in advance. So talk about that, but how do you plan for those events and start organizing? Because that's a lot of coordination.
Go ahead, Adrian. I'll let you go first because I'll probably talk for a while.
The middle school, high school relationship we have is really strong. So I think I sent an email to Beau this morning saying, hey, these are the games we want to be at the high school for next season. So we do have to look ahead. We have to look at the events. We're usually tied to yearly or bi-yearly contracts with other schools. So planning that in accordance. This last year, I was really worried because we weren't going to have our gym due to construction, but reaching out to Beau, reaching out to the rec center, we were able to just really be flexible and have people in the community support us, which was awesome. And just, having that dialogue and being able to talk to each other about facility uses has been really good for us.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback onto everything Adrian just said. It's true at the high school. I think being proactive, and planning as early as you can, communicating as much as you can. Communication is the biggest factor, I believe, in all of it. I think communication has really been on the decline, with a lot of things, and to make sure that you're prepared. We send out, a week in advance. Usually I send out an itinerary to the school that we're hosting, that it includes everything. It includes our tickets. We've added digital tickets now. Gives them an opportunity to do that. It says who's officiating, who's working those games, which administrator is going to be at those games. If we're playing on an outdoor facility, is there water at the facility? Everything that you can imagine goes into that. So when they show up, they already have all those questions answered, and they've had it a week in advance. So being proactive, I think is is definitely the biggest thing when kind of preparing. And you got to expect the unexpected. Anything that could happen at that event, you've got to be prepared that it is going to happen. So that's something that we kind of learned this year, and it's something but until you experience it, and you kind of don't know until so when you experience things, you make note. The next game, it's taken care of, and that's just kind of the learning curve, the learning process through anything. There's things in activity and sporting events that nobody's even thought of right now that we're going to have to deal with moving forward. And as we start to learn those things, we will start to prepare and make sure that like I said, we're ready for it when it happens.
And just having someone willing to be flexible has been awesome. We've had multiple times this year where something's come up with transportation, bus drivers are sick. We don't have the buses for it, where we've had to kind of talk between us and transportation, who needs to take this bus, who needs to take that bus. So just communicating that and realizing that, giving a little helps everyone in the end.
Well, I'll take that opportunity to say we still need activity drivers for next year. So if we have anybody who's interested, we would love, you can just drive a bus or a van for activities. You don't have to have a route. So try to throw that in as much as possible. Okay, last question has been about bond construction and the middle school. So talk to us about what the new gym means for the PE classes and for athletics as well.
Oh, we're so excited about our new gym. Not only for the athletic wise, but we have a whole other gym for our physical education classes. We'll be able to offer more PE classes going at once because we have more space. They'll be able to do more activities. They can be a lot more flexible in what they teach and how they teach. We won't have kids just crammed into one gym. So that's super excited on the physical education side of things. On the athletic side of things, like I said earlier, the high schools lets us use their gym for our volleyball tournaments or for our basketball tournaments, which is always great to be able to be there. But it's also super exciting to host our own middle school events at our middle school. We'll have a brand new concession area and restrooms and more parking and activity entrances. It's just an update we really needed, that our kids are excited. Our 8th graders were like, of course it's happening when we leave, but they'll be excited to come back and cheer on the next year's 8th graders and 7th graders. So we just want to host events, and we have the facilities to do it, and it's going to be really fun.
And that is thanks to our community for supporting the bond and all the great things that have happened at Emporia High and Emporia Middle School. So both of you are finishing up your first year as assistant principals and athletic directors. So any final words that you would like to share?
Yeah, I think just kind of moving forward, like I said, the job's been enjoyable. I think, like Adrian and I said, you're always on call, and we talked about it with athletics, but I think just in the job, expect the unexpected, but being flexible, and working with people. And I feel like we've got a lot of good people. I've been fortunate, to have a lot of really good people help me, and kind of getting my foot in the door. And I know Adrian and I both kind of starting out this year. There's so many things that, you don't know, you've got to experience them before, you really learn and understand how to deal with some things. And, by the end of the year, I felt like I had dealt with everything, 30 times, but like we said earlier, there's always something new. There's always something new that you're going to have to think about and figure out. So, but to me, that's the best part of the job, is the challenge of the job, and figuring things out, working with people, getting to work with our kids. Like I said, to me, that's the most rewarding part of the job.
Leaving first year out of the classroom, being athletic director, kind of filled that role of a teacher of kids. Like, I see all the athletes, I see the parents, I see the coaches. It's almost like I have a classroom. So I've absolutely loved being an athletic director. My message would be specific at the middle school level to parents, like, have their kids come out and try it. Like 7th grade, they can do Keisha sports. Have them try it, even if they've never done it before. And if they want to do our summer camps that the high school's putting on, that we're putting on, to get them to see maybe what they'll like. But they don't lose anything. They can make some new friends, some build relationships, and then that community support. So just have your kids come enjoy, try out any sport, whether it's Scholars Bowl or whether it's tennis. We have so many sports at the middle school. And if they start at the middle school, then when they get to the high school, they'll be even more ready for more success.
Well, and I just want to shout out to both of you because on call, yes, on call, but also on site. You are early morning, late night, over the weekends. It doesn't matter what day it is or holiday. You are at the events and you're making sure everything's running smoothly. So a big thank you to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, as we conclude this episode, we would like to remind our listeners that below the podcast link, there is a link to an electronic form for anyone to provide feedback or ideas about the podcast you may have just listened to, or to share ideas for future podcasts. We will end on our Emporia Public Schools mission statement. We engage, we empower, we inspire. Thank you for listening, and watch for upcoming episodes.